Within 3 months, we would have sent more than 500 personalized emails, got around 35 demos, and closed 2 deals. And that's how Whatfix started.
They've raised $270 million life to date and have close to 900 plus employees. Being used by over 700 customers across 40 plus countries, including 85 plus Fortune 500 customers.
We both were engineers. We didn't know anything. We iterated, we learned. The VCs asked for a lot more. Bigger TAM.
Bigger TAM.
We sold it for $25 a month.
Okay.
Because I didn't bother about the price. I wanted that logo.
Yeah.
So from 50K to 250K to $1 million. After first 5-6 customers, we started focusing on US. Now suddenly I can sign $250,000 deals, $500,000 deals, $1 million deals. 95% of revenue comes from us.
Wow.
5% still comes from us.
When as you raise the growth rounds, what are the fundraising strategies?
Geography, persona, your segment, your use case. The narrower, the faster. Yeah, so I think that's where a lot of founders get confused actually.
Yeah.
When they say bigger TAM, they start going very horizontal.
Yes.
Too early, of course. You can do it, but it can be done later. We got Cisco Investments. We got F Prime Capital in Boston along with 8 Roads. They had a Europe presence, Europe, UK. And Sequoia, Pick 15,
Yeah.
strong US presence. Okay, SoftBank is there, Dragoneer is there. Okay, we have Wobble. There's a case saying, crying baby gets more milk. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Prime Ventures podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me, someone who has put India SaaS on the global world map. Somebody who has built a product which started off as a widget is now a full-blown enterprise product being used by over 700 customers across 40 plus countries, including 85 plus Fortune 500 customers. They've raised $270 million life to date and have close to 900 plus employees. Welcome, Khadim, to Prime Ventures podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Gaurav.
So, Khadim, would love to know the starting journey for Whatfix. What are the initial idea? What are the initial insights that led to the starting of Whatfix?
Sure. So started by myself and my co-founder Varakumar. We've been now working for more than 25 years. So prior to starting up, actually we were working in Huawei Telecom building a BI product line for Huawei, both on the engineering side. We never had exposure to sales and marketing. So set the context. So we came out. That was something around 2011-12 timeframe. A lot of businesses were moving online, trying to take advantage of online presence, social media, search, right? So we thought, why not build something to help these small businesses to leverage their social and search presence. We built a tool called Search Enabler. We got a initial set of customers, 50-60 paying customers. It was freemium, try and buy. What we found was we didn't get a strong product market fit. There was a lot of churn. People were not realizing the ROI. But while solving the problem of helping customers, we realized that they need a lot more hand-holding. And the traditional mechanism of hand-holding doesn't work. And we created guidance for some of our help where they can actually complete their task. And that button was called Fix It, where they click and it will help them. A lot of people loved it. And they said, can I use this Fix It feature for my application, for my customers? That really made us think like, okay, this looks a little disruptive. We tried to Google, we tried to see if something is there. We couldn't find anything because it was no category. Only thing we were getting was LMS or support tools or training tools. We thought, okay, maybe this is a good problem to solve, and we pivoted. And that's how Whatfix started.
Got it. That's a very interesting journey. I mean, a lot of times when we see founders as well, right, they pick up on an idea and over time they realize talking to customers that what will work or not work. Hence, like staying close to the customer is very important in the early days. Right now, Whatfix operates in a category called DAP, right, Digital Adoption Platforms. Was that a category back then, or was it something new that you were trying to build and create? Right? How did the customer awareness happen over time?
See, I think everybody would have heard, like any point of time, there are several other people solving the same problem,
Yes.
maybe different parts of the world, right? But since it's not a well-defined category, you don't know how to look for, right? Like as I was mentioning earlier, when we started something like, we started Whatfix, we were trying to solve the problem of onboarding, learning, support. So we started Googling and figuring out like what other product exists. And we didn't find anything similar because we were looking for learning management systems or support tools. We thought probably we are the one, we are the only one. And we started initially. We started calling that, okay, we'll simplify your onboarding. There was no keyword, right? And that's how we used to also do Google and all. After a few months, there was like always like, oh shit moment. There are some other guys also solving the same problem, right? Somebody started before us. Somebody started around time what we started. Different people were calling it different. Some were calling it guidance system. Some were calling onboarding tool. Some were calling uh, product learning, online product learning, or something like that. Gradually, as the problem statement evolved, with the help of Gartner, this category was coined as digital adoption solutions. And the players like us, Whatfix, started calling ourselves digital adoption platform.
Right.
Right? And since the category started getting created, awareness increased. There were RFP started coming out, and inbound also started well. Ticket size increased. But early on, as you asked, there was no category. We used to call ourselves with different names. At some point, we also called ourselves performance support system for a while.
Right.
And
Right.
we were trying to see what resonates, how we can latch on some existing budgets and all. But yeah, eventually it became digital adoption solution and platforms.
Got it. Got it. And what you mentioned started off more as a widget, and today the full bro enterprise product, right? What is the journey from there? Like, how did that transition happen?
So we started as a very pinpointed solution where we can actually handhold customers on any software. So we created a help widget where they can click, find the help, and when they click on the help, it will start guiding them. As we started working with customers, more features evolved around that. People needed different kind of widgets, pop-ups, auto nudges, segmentations, and all the stuff. I'll still bucket this like a adoption tool for web. As we started going deeper into enterprises, they wanted to solve this adoption problem for hundreds of softwares. And several of those softwares were not on web, right? Like what they're saying, some fleet management system. They were saying, okay, I have mobile first solution. There was some legacy solution which were desktop. Can we solve that? So we started becoming a full stack adoption tool. We started building desktop. We were a little late in mobile, so we acquired a company called Leap in 2019, 2020. That made us a full adoption across any type of software. So if I go to a CIO, if they have hundreds of software, we can say we can solve that problem. As we started working across software, we realized a lot more understanding of how the workflows perform. What are the gaps in the workflows? What are different features in the software perform? Right? Because many of this visibility is not there with these folks because those visibilities are with the product managers who sell those software, but the consumers don't have the B2B companies, and it's not easy to provide that visibility because they cannot instrument the source code because they don't have access to source code. But we were very good at on the web via extensions, via playing on the browser or SDKs on the Windows or Mac. We use the same technology to actually understand the click stream and come up with an analytics. So we created product analytics on third-party softwares. So from full stack adoption tool to now analytics. Further, we extrapolated analytics to give enterprise-wide view. We call it enterprise insights. So this is how we evolved. Now, if you look at the digital transformation cycle, because that's what we started getting into, we learned that we need to help customers with digital transformation, and we were solving the problem primarily post go live. Right? That's a half of the solution. Right? So post go live, we help them in improving the adoption. We help them in the measurement. What happens before go live? There are a lot of stuff's happening there as well. A lot of customers say, can you help us even before we go live, making awareness, training people, making them understand. We don't want them to wait till the production, or we don't want them to touch the production system. So we started helping them measurement before go live, as well as created another product called Mirror. It can simulate the environment, make people ready. If customers don't want their employees to touch the production environment, they can actually learn on the simulated environment. So whole digital transformation cycle now we can cover, right from simulation to onboarding to in learning in the flow of work with measurement across, not only at the application level, at the process level, at the enterprise level. So that's how the whole ecosystem and the portfolio evolved.
Got it. Got it. That's very interesting, right? I mean, here you're trying to build something which is category creating. Nothing has been done like this before. So, a couple of questions there, right? How do you figure out what you're building is the right thing, right? One. And second, what you're building makes business sense. I mean, you can solve a problem for one customer, but you need like thousands of customers for it to be like a large viable business. So, how do you validate whether what you're doing is right? And second, is there a large market for that when you're building something which is new and category creating?
I'm sure there'll be multiple answers to this. What worked for us is actually the problem we were trying to solve so of course initially we were a little wide, quite spread across. When we narrowed down that, okay, we are going to solve this problem for enterprises, for softwares where they use internally by employees. So now we are narrowing down, we call it employee experience. Now who will be the people who will be in charge for this, right? So let's say L&D and internal IT. So now when you speak to several of those L&Ds and you start realizing, okay, it's their responsibility to ensure that there's a handholding of on the software for all the employees, and IT is responsible for adoption. When you talk to similar personas and they also talk the same language, now you realize, okay, never across thousands of enterprises, probably the same persona exists and they have the similar set of problems. Uh, but if you don't have a clear persona, then maybe it's hard to replicate, right? Because you need that repeatability where you're for a persona, you can create that pitch, resonate the value levers, what they are looking for, the KPIs, what they want to influence, and then you can actually replicate across similar persona across several companies. So that worked for us. Another to look like, let's say if we have done that, like we talk about product market fit,
Yes.
right? So what we have learned, or like product market fit is again a moving target, right? I might have achieved a product market fit for a, let's say, a sales operation person who is buying Whatfix on a top of Salesforce, giving me $30,000-$50,000 or something. Now, if I have to become a large company, a few $100 million, how do I grow? Because that person has a check size, like they can sign maybe 50K. Like if you would have seen the journey of Salesforce, anyone with 50K, now they are signing maybe 20-30 million dollars, right? Because otherwise it's very hard to get a billion a quarter, right? The same way for us, like I can't sign 1,000 customers every year to move the needle. I need to also grow up the deal sizes. So from 50K to 250K to $1 million. But when you start going up the ticket size, the authority who approves that budget or the decision makers goes up. Now, I can't go and tell a CIO who is owning, let's say, $250 million or $1 billion budget on the software stack, I'm going to improve your software tool for a sales team. Is insignificant, right? So something has to be there. So my product market fit for that persona has changed. So now, as I was mentioning earlier, how the product portfolio evolved. Now, for that person, I am giving the enterprise-wide view that, okay, you are spending several hundreds of millions of dollars on a software stack or a digital transformation projects. I can ensure you that you get the clear, measurable, first of all, measure the outcome, ROI. And then I'll give you tools to improvise that. Pre-go live, post-go live. If something is not working, maybe you can cut the licenses. If something is not working and you nearly need it, maybe I'll give you the adoption tools across different stack to improvise it. Now, that if I would not have built all this platform, maybe that level product market fit I would not have achieved. Now suddenly I can sign 250,000 deals, 500,000 deals, $1 million deals. And I feel as we move forward, this journey goes on. Maybe tomorrow if I want a 5 million, $10 million deal size in a single check, maybe more value needs to be created.
Right. We'll come back to this, like the journey from like a widget to a SMB focus or mid-market product to an enterprise product. But before that, like taking a step back and just going back to the initial journey itself, right? You mentioned that both you and Vara were not from business backgrounds or like sales and marketing backgrounds. Both of you are techies. So how did you go about like doing the initial GTM, figuring out the initial set of customers, validating your product? Like a lot of founders in the early days, they build a like really nice product, but they struggle with like go to market in the initial days.
Yeah, so I think when we did the first product search enabler, we did similar mistake like most of the founders would do, right? Like we assume if we are engineering from engineering background that we build people will come,
Yes,
right? But nobody comes, right? Specifically, if you want to sell to B2B. So what we decided when we do Whatfix, we will not build unless we have validation. Everybody knows like we have to first do MVP and get the validation before you build, but it's hard actually to do it. But actually, we did that. Actually, we created a mock-up pages. We created a landing page without actually a real running product. We had that small thing working on previous product, that fix it button and all. And what we did is actually we were only two people company. Vara started giving me 25-30 email IDs every day. I used to review those websites, their support pages, and create a personalized emailer and send it to them with a demo like how this will work for your product or your site. Within 3 months, we would have sent more than 500 personalized emails, got around 30-35 demos, and closed 2 deals. That was my first 2 deals. It was pure outbound, and that's how we started our GTM. We both were engineers. We didn't know anything. We iterated, we learned. Then we thought, okay, one thing which was very clear for us was if we know the customers, their requirement, building is not going to be hard for us because we know the tech.
Yeah.
What is hard for us is GTM
Right.
because we don't know anything. So let's double down on that. So we did the first hiring of a salesperson.
Okay.
Right. I was doing sales. So two sellers, Vara was only fixing bugs or requirements. Second person we hired was also sales guy. Third guy we hired was a marketing guy. Vara was overburdened. It was only bug fixing. Features were slowed down. Then we hired two engineers.
Right.
So we went. That's how.
That's fine.
And when the first seller came in, he shadowed me for the first couple of sales. After that, I used to shadow him. And my initial thing was also we used to have daily stand up with the sellers. Never discuss when we were closing the deal. What is the next step? Something very first principle approach we tried, and it kind of worked.
Right. That's amazing. I mean, basically, you did things initially which would not scale, right? But it gave you like enough and more perspective of the customer, insights from the customer.
Yeah, just to add, actually, things really worked out for us because personally involved in first 15-20 sales, or I led the first 15-20 sales. We didn't know pricing. We didn't know how to even probably create sales collaterals and all. But when we went in person or when we were directly getting on the Zoom, we used to iterate very quickly, right?
Skype back then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Skype was there. That's right. So we used to iterate very, very quickly, actually. And first two sellers also hustled with us accordingly. So, and then once we things started, we knew that this is the pitch, this is the aha moment in my sales process and all. We doubled down those messages on our website. Then we started a little bit on Google Ads. So Google Ads got us to $1.5 million.
Wow.
Right. We started parallelly. We did some more stuff like we added. I personally wrote almost like more than 100 answers on Quora because Quora was a little bit more popular. GetApp,
Right.
G2
Yeah.
Crowd,
Yeah.
right? So those started giving us a lot of deals, but mostly were SMBs actually. But that got us to like maybe $1.5 million.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. And when did you, in this whole journey, when did you decide to like focus on the US market? Today, almost 70% of revenue comes from US, if I'm right.
Yeah,
Right? So
you
when did-
mentioned that in introduction, 40 countries. So I
Yeah.
just want to clarify. Even though we have customers across a lot of countries, but we are very concentrated. Like 70%, close to 70% comes from US only. Around 22-23% comes from UK, Germany, France. So if you look at these 3-4 countries, it's almost like 90-93% of our
Right.
revenue. India, even though we started from India, India is around maybe 2-3%. Australia is another 2-3%. So like 5-6 countries if I rank, like that's my 99% of the business, right? Very concentrated.
Yeah.
Because that's by design. So when we started selling Whatfix initially, once we got 5-6 customers, we realized that if we want to build, because we initially did some demos in India, probably we were pretty quick to understand it's hard to get money out of this market, right? Specifically for a new category,
Yeah.
because people were still spending on CRMs, on ERPs, right? So if we want to build $100 million out of something new, a category which is still getting defined, we need to go the market which is very early adopter. And natural choice was US, one market where you can build a large company. So after first 5-6 customers, we started focusing on US. So even my personal outbounds, everything was US. We started working on a US time zone. Out of my two sellers, I said one will focus on US and one will focus on India. So very early on in my first single digit of customers, like first 10 customers, I had one from US, one from Europe.
Right.
So very early on we started.
Got it. And in the initial days, right? How do you build credibility as a like a very young startup with like few customers, and that too in a new category, right? How do you build credibility with US customers? A lot of people say, I mean, these days we hear a lot like you need to be closer to a customer, move to the US, meet them in person. But I'm assuming you did a lot of that remote setting out of India or in Bangalore, right? So how do you build that credibility and then?
See, there's no one playbook which will work for all, actually, Gaurav, right? It was a new category, so probably we were in the level playing field with other players. Our presence probably didn't matter so much. If it's existing category, if somebody is going and selling a CRM today in an office in Coca-Cola or GE somewhere,
Yeah.
I might need to be present because somebody is not going to write a check of $5-10 million without saying. But it's a new category, something new problem. People don't even know what's the category name. They don't know what are the alternatives. You have some kind of an advantage, right? So probably that worked for us. A second is actually important to build trust, right? when you are very early on, how do you build trust? Uh, you need a couple of logos at least, right? So if I go to some company in US and say, okay, I have Google as a customer, or some Bank of America or some other customer, people will start trusting. Okay, they are working with the big guys, and maybe I can trust them. But how do you get the first two, three? That's a chicken and egg problem. That's where the lot of hustle is required. What we did is actually, when somebody started comparing us with some other legacy players or something else, uh, when we started going deeper, we realized every larger enterprise has something very specific or unique they need. And if we can identify that, we can actually really put a whole narrative around that. Okay, without this feature, without this particular thing, you may not be able to achieve the success. Some legacy player might want to do it, but it's not a priority. They would say, I will do it in 2 years. And we used to say, okay, we are small guys, we are nimble, we are agile. We'll put our 100% to make you successful. Of course, everybody will not bite that, but you just need a couple of them to bite it, right? So we got that initial couple of guys, really big companies. In fact, we got one of the Fortune 500 actually, very early on. And then we really juiced, like squeeze that to every customer we used to, every prospect we used to go, we used to quote that name. Uh, like those couple of logos which you want initially, you're not going, you don't want to win that logos, you don't want to lose that logos. So pricing doesn't matter. You might want to do something very specific for them. That's fine. Get those and then actually utilize them as much as possible. And then of course, gradually you will also stabilize everything. So that's how it worked for us. So I remember one first Fortune 500 company which we onboarded. Uh, sound very stupid here. We sold it for $25 a month. Because I didn't bother about the price.
It's
'Cause
one
I
of the
wanted
logo.
that logo.
Right. So it's more about getting that one anchor customer that I can leverage to get more.
Because the other guy who's seeing that logo doesn't ask like how much you sold it for,
Yes.
right? Oh, this guy's using you.
Yeah. I remember one of.
And in fact, I'll tell you, that was not even Fortune 500. It was Fortune 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Got it. So from here, like, how do you build this into a repeatable process, right? As you start scaling, I mean, the first initial set of customers understand you need to hustle, you need to like navigate your way through founder-led sales. But how to build a large enterprise, you have to make this into a repeatable process that somebody else can like drive. So how did that transition happen? What did you do about that?
Yeah. So, so when we started getting few customers, enterprise customers, we realized we were a little bit spread. Like, we were going behind some customer experience use case where they can use Whatfix for their end customers onboarding. Some are using internally. Within internally also, some are using on a HR platform. Some are using on a sales platform. Some are using on a procurement. Like GT becomes very hard.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Persona also start differing a bit. Like on the CX side, the product managers are buyer. On the EX side, maybe there are sometimes sales operations, there are sometimes HR operations, there are sometimes IT, L&D. Now that becomes really hard to train people and make a repeatable process. So we said, let's narrow down. So we narrowed down into initially to start with two: HR platform and sales platform, Salesforce and Success Factors, right? And we realized that Success Factor, there's a lot of spend. We attended Salesforce events. Sorry, Salesforce, there was a lot of spend. We attended a Salesforce event called Dreamforce. Within 3 days, we pitched to around 300 people there. Right, it was a small booth. We were probably the only Indian company attending at that point. Now, like, a lot of companies
Yeah. Now
attend.
that's called Agent Force.
Yeah.
Yeah. The agentic.
So there where we realized that actually that spend is so high. Like even a glass cleaning company says I have 250 seats of Salesforce. There are some companies which have this logistics, very varieties of different businesses, right? Some mining companies and all, and they have thousands of seats. Some are spending 2 million, 5 million. And when we say, okay, I want to spend, like, this is going to charge you $20,000, $30,000 or $10,000, they never used to flinch because they're already spending $1 million, and this is going to help them to improve their adoption or ensure the ROI on the underlying platform. They used to agree. After coming back, we said, okay, let's focus on that platform. All over Google Ads, a lot of events around that, a lot of outbound, all resonated, like all actually went behind that. In fact, out of first 100, 200 customers, I feel 40, 45% will be on that platform. Right? So that really narrowed down our made our pitch very razor sharp. All our GTM activities were very, very aligned. And then once we land, then we said, okay, we can do more. Right. And after Salesforce for landing, we use HR software, and then now we use many other motions as well. As we evolved, like channel wise, everything came in, right? Like we had outbound, we had at some point we started partnership alliances as well. Google was working, events started working. at some point we realized that okay, we are landing well, we are
Mhm.
acquiring logos, but
Mhm.
we are not able to successfully expand.
Mhm.
So that was another motion we had to
Mhm.
really iterate and build.
Mhm.
We thought sellers can actually, we can give them logos, they will expand, but then they were very transactional because they were
Right.
wired to do new
Yeah.
transactions.
Mhm.
Somebody had to really map the accounts, understand what are the critical projects going on,
Mhm.
who are the decision makers.
Mhm.
That required a lot of patience and research.
Mhm.
So that's a little different skill.
Right.
We thought success guys will do it, but they were when they started doing something like that, they were compromising on the value delivery. And a
Mhm.
new category value delivery is very important.
Yeah.
We said, okay, that's also not the right place. So we created a new team. We called account managers who were responsible only for expansions.
Right.
So sales team got divided, sell AEs for new logos and
Mhm.
AMs for expansions. That started working. So a
Wow.
lot of iterations were for
Mhm.
different things to actually make it work and then make
Mhm.
it scale.
Right. So all of these things, while this was happening, were there established playbooks that you tried to use, or was it all like first principles based thinking, learning, iterating?
It's a combination actually, right? Like if you can try first principle everything, but a
Mhm.
lot of people have been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not learn? So like every time, every quarter, I used to meet with several people in
Mhm.
US, several people in India who have been there, who have
Mhm. Mhm.
learned from them, like what worked, what didn't work, and then really think from your variables, like what are your variables? Will this playbook work, or
Mhm.
this playbook work as is? We
Mhm.
need tweaking,
Mhm.
or it has to be completely
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
See, answers were very different.
Mhm.
Like many people told my sellers will do both
Right.
expansion. Some people told success will do expansion. Some
Mhm.
people told there has to be a separate team because of XYZ reason. Now I have to pick up which is the right for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you pick up wrong thing and you have to iterate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good to learn, ask a lot of things, but you have to apply it
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
right way according to your variables. And
Right.
also, these variables also will evolve, right?
Mhm.
Maybe what worked for me yesterday may not be work
Yeah. Yeah.
tomorrow, or what didn't work today might work tomorrow.
Mhm. Mhm. Got it. Now, one very important question that I want to like
Hmm.
pick your get your views on. In India, we see a lot of companies like young founders starting up, trying to build software, right? And it's easy to start in the SMB mid-market space
Yeah.
because easier access to customer, decision makers, right? You can start there. But then it has its own inherent challenges, low ACV, high churn, right? Eventually, everybody wants to move up market, but only few people are able to do that. And you have done it like really well. So could you walk us through that journey of like moving from, say, an SMB mid-market customer to enterprise customer? How does that happen? What does it take from a product point of view, GTM point of view, from a team structure point of view?
So we also started with many others like
Mm.
SMB, and see, very important is to if you want to build a large company out of SMB, you cannot go out and
Yeah.
knocking every door, right?
Yeah.
It has to be a lot more inbound. Also has to
Mhm.
work,
Mhm.
and many people have done successfully, like
Yeah.
Freshworks and many other guys actually. So we thought we'll build a community platform
Mhm.
where people will create free guiding system,
Mhm.
help tutorials which
Mhm.
are interactive, visual, and that will become viral and it will become the cost of acquisition will be
Mhm.
lower. Uh, we tried that for a few quarters. We
Mhm.
realized it's very hard to moderate and keep it.
Mhm.
It used to break a lot,
Mhm.
and because of that, and then we did a lot of Google ads and GitHub and Queras and other stuff. We used to get SMBs
Mhm.
regularly, but the churn was high.
Yeah.
Uh, what we realized was like our product, it's not an immediate requirement for an SMB founder or someone.
Mhm. Mhm.
They are looking for growth.
Mhm.
We help in onboarding, realization of
Mhm.
ROI post sales,
Yeah.
and the sales is in the mind is the top of the mind share
Yeah.
for those guys. So it becomes suddenly we become nice to have.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when then we said, okay, this is not the market, we need to go up market. We didn't have a choice actually.
Mhm.
We realized that, and that's where how do we get into enterprise? Did get one or two enterprises
Yeah.
with inbound and other places, but we need to make it as a well designed or as a process.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's where we started doing a couple of events, like we did our event, which I was mentioning, the
Yeah.
Dreamforce, and where we learned a lot.
Mhm.
The whole messaging across the website and everything evolved for enterprises,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we iterated on that and build the sales accordingly.
Mhm.
In terms of channels, we continued with Google Ads.
Mhm.
We didn't stop that, but we used to now filter a lot, saying,
Mhm. Mhm.
okay, we're not going to qualify anyone who's going to give us less than $10,000,
Okay.
right? And uh, and for the rest of the guys, we never used to give them the price. We remove the
Mhm.
price from the
Mhm.
website
Yeah.
so that it goes to SDR and AE so
Mhm.
that they can qualify, understand the problem, and then give the
Mhm.
quotations.
Mhm.
On the product side and all, a lot of system has to have evolved. Like if you
Yeah.
build for SMB, it has to be what do you call that? Ease of use is very important. Like
Yep.
it should be without handholding, people should
Yeah.
be able to use it. But when you go to enterprise, a lot of integrations are required. Like I
Yes.
need to integrate with underlying platforms or Salesforce or anything. It has to work with multiple browsers, multiple systems. Security becomes very important. Like we went through all the ISOs and SOX and other compliances. Uh, then roadmap has to be very clear
Yeah.
because people will ask for
Yes.
roadmaps and other stuff. So product also evolved. Scale, a lot of testing on the scale actually, load testing and other stuff and all. Uh, data privacy, security would cover that. Sorry, this one. Where are you actually hosting?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that also becomes very important. Like European countries wanted data to be within Europe,
Yes.
whereas US wanted within US and so on. So a lot of things evolved over a period of time. Product, our GTM, our security and other stuff, and that's how we were able to get into enterprise.
Got it. Got it. And
But it was not like we build everything first and then went. It was a journey.
organic
It
journey.
was journey. Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
But most important was to be very, very clear that okay, this is the market, this is the segment we want to target. Doing both is
Doesn't work
hard.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Same with geography also. Doing multiple geographies to start with is hard, very hard.
Right. So, I mean, essentially, it means you need to like be as narrow
Yeah.
as possible in the beginning, right? Whether in terms of customer vertical,
Geography,
geography.
persona, your segment, your
Yep.
use case. The narrower, the faster you
Yep.
would be.
Yep. And then you keep on
Maybe
expanding from
VCs
there.
ask for a lot more. Bigger TAM.
Bigger TAM. Yeah. So, TAM for this could be everything.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of founders get confused actually.
Yeah.
When they say bigger TAM, they start going very horizontal too
Yes.
early. Of course, you can do it, but it can be done later.
Now, I mean, one of the things that happens in early days, right? I mean, in your case, it was a very conscious decision to go to the US one to move from mid market to enterprise, right? But a lot of times you're leaving like money on the table or low hanging fruits, whether it's India customers, yeah, I can meet them and close the deal like in 1 week, or like I'm doing well with SMBs, right? Why do I need to like leave customers who are like less than $10,000 ACV? So how do you kind of change the DNA of the company, right? Because on one side, if you have an external investor, they would ask for growth. Your sales guys are saying, I'm closing this deal of $8,000, just asking me not to do this and like hunt for $80,000 deal.
That's a tough thing actually, right? I'll tell you one of the tougher problem. Like when we were at $1.5 million, uh, we were doing two major use cases, right? Of course, there are several sub use cases. One was selling to product leaders for using Whatfix for onboarding their customers,
Right.
and one for using Whatfix internally for the employees, where the use buyers were different, IT or L&D and all. At some point, we realized this is also very big.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, these two are very different.
Different.
We need to select one, right? And we were already $1 million, I think. And at that point, when we did the revenue, it was 50-50.
Okay.
But we said if we continue to do that, our product will not evolve
Right.
in a right way. Because the requirement was we started realizing that product managers need lots more bells and whistles in terms of customization. When I asked them that, okay, you need to use this API, they were saying, fine, I have engineers will do it. When you ask an L&D guy saying, okay, you need to use this API, they'll not think, okay, where is my engineers? They will think, okay, I have to outsource to Infosys, TCS, who will do this? How much they want to charge this? Right? They need very ease of deployment, ease of maintenance. Right? These guys are don't bother about that. They need a lot of behavioral triggers. So as you start going deeper, you have a different set of requirements. Like if I do all, I will be either or there. Maybe I still got to 1 million.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
I should have been. But at that point, we decided, okay, we need to do one. So it was a hard decision. There was a lot of debate internally. So we said, okay, we'll not churn these guys. But any feature comes from the CX, will not implement.
Got
Right? If they want to use existing system, let them use. But any features comes from EX, and if multiple customers are requesting, will deploy that, right? So eventually, what happened? We became very strong player in this. Today, 95% of revenue comes from this.
Wow.
5% still comes from this, right?
It's still there.
Yeah. We also, many people now, a lot of features are actually applicable here. It works. But that was by design. So our win rate also, like earlier, like we were winning, let's say 2 or 1 out of 10 in competitive and thing because we were here, there, But at some point when we started going deeper into EX, we started winning 6 out of 10. Like if we lose here, we would be like frustrated. Why did we lose? What did we do wrong? Why our platform was? Here, if we lose,
It's okay.
we don't care.
Yeah.
right? So now if you see at that point we gave up this revenue. We were losing $8,000, $12,000, $15,000 deal, but when we went deeper into EX, we started winning $100,000 deals, $250,000 deals.
Right.
So we accelerated. Right? Temporarily, it might have felt that we might not. So similarly, right, if somebody wants to make a choice with the geography, right? If I could do India, I could do US, I could do UK, everything sounds intuitive. But then to make a geography successful, you need to back it up.
Yeah.
Like I just can't put a seller and say, okay, I'll do this geography. I need to have a product marketing. I need to do events. I need to basically what we'll say if you send a soldier, you need to put a lot of cover fire, right?
Yeah.
So you need to give a lot of collaterals, battle cards. So you need to do local events. You need to do ABM. Maybe for that local hosting, you might have to support that data privacy and other regulations for that particular geography, right? You need to strike some alliances in the geography. Post that, you need sales engineers, support engineers, success guys. Otherwise, how you make geography successful, right? You will churn very fast. You will make a leaky bucket. So it requires too much for making one geography also successful, like I was explaining about the use case. So we thought, okay, let's focus on less geographies, but whichever geography you want to focus, go 100%.
Right.
Invest. So that's where the problem happens. Like I get one deal here, deal there, one deal there, but it's it sounds okay very, very early on to get a understanding of the product market fit, but at some point they need to narrow down, go 100% so that you get velocity.
Right. As you've done this like multiple times, choices that you have to make, whether it is India, US, SMB enterprise, CX, EX. Looking back, do you think there could be some framework that you can use to like make these decisions, whether it's your internal capability, market size, whatever it could be, like anything that simplifies the decision making process? Not now that you've done it multiple times.
So each decision was because of different for different aspects actually, right? The use cases which I did was actually to make our product winnable, right? Product having a strong differentiators and against the competition. If I do multiple use case, that's a problem, right? So I do hear from a lot of founders when I ask them what is the differentiator, they say, okay, I do A plus B plus C. Whereas there are 3 different companies for ABC. There's a reason for this. Because they go deep, right? So that's a rational here. When I do geography, like I was mentioning from the aspect of too much of operational challenge, right? If I do too many geographies, how do I go 100% in the geography? I'll just add one more example. Many times I've seen like a seller does, there are 2 sellers in the company and they do multiple geographies. Why? Because occasionally I get leads from India, sometimes from US, sometimes from UK. Now, how do you do SLAs?
Yeah.
Like somebody responds to you in US at 1 a.m. But you can't expect that seller to be awake till 1 a.m. because you have asked them to start morning 9 a.m. shift with the India team as well.
Yes.
So now you are not responding at 1 a.m. Next day you respond. Your turnaround time is like more than 24 hours.
Yes.
Very hard to win those deals. So you need to go all in there. So now geography is, I would say, as one of the important criteria is your operations, how you settle the operations and set up the operations, etc. So every decision you make, I think there is a major reason, like one variable which is going to impact that decision, whether it's your competitive or building a differentiators or operations or sometimes maybe size actually, TAM, right? Like SMB versus enterprise in our case, nice to have versus must have. I couldn't have built large company here, but I have to build here. So those are, I would not say there's one thing. Every decision there is a different variable there.
Got it. Very interesting. And see, we work with a lot of like early stage companies, right? And where, as you said, like initially you're doing everything like from sales to product to everything, right? But as you start scaling up, you have to let go of things, right? And a lot of times we see it very hard for founders to let go of, because they are the ones like who are driving product, who are doing sales. At what point do you think it is okay, and like is there some way where you can build comfort as a founder to say, okay, now let me bring in the next set of leaders who can like drive it and let me take a back seat and focus on other important things?
I'm pretty comfortable with that from very early on, right? Like what has worked for me is when I got my first sales guy on board, Prakhar. So I asked him to. There was no onboarding checklist or there's no training and all. I said, okay, just join me with first 3-4 deals, and then you do deals, I'll join you. That's it, right? So when he joined few deals with me, he learned, and when he was doing the deals, I was sitting with him. If there was any objection which he couldn't answer, I was answering, and I also built my confidence that okay, he's able to do it.
Right.
After that, I don't have to.
Right.
right? Then I have to start looking at something else. Similarly, let's say if I have to give an example of marketing, right? We really went deep at some point on Google Ads. Now, when Google Ads started working, that initial experiments was done by us,
Yeah.
the founders. Now, I thought, okay, now let me get someone. So I hired Vipul. So he was expert in Google Ads. He really went really deep, and some things which we never knew, actually he did that,
Right.
right? But now I don't have to poke my nose there because he's doing fine. I have to start thinking about like what next? What are the other marketing channels I need to
Right.
focus on? So we started focusing on events,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, this is set.
Yeah.
Prakhar and other guys are doing, couple of guys are doing sales. So that channel has been established, like from Google Ads, it goes to them, and then that inbound mechanism work. So I have to look at what is the next channel I have to do it. Then on the sales side, I started looking at personally at SIs, at
Right.
alliances.
Right.
So whatever starts working, hire the person who can take it take it next, take it further and scale it. And as a founder, you can start focusing on the next area, which I think you need to experiment because
Right.
you are the best guy to 0 to 1. You can do experiment. So today also, right? If I look at what I and Vara also do, I think we delegate as much as possible without losing control.
Right.
So put that checks and balances. Now
Right.
we have systems in place and all. We take the regular reporting and all. But keep yourself free for the things which only you can do.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So of course people will do mistakes, but that's also another way to learn fast.
Yes.
People get bolder, people start owning things.
Great. In this age, I think no conversation can be done without talking about AI. You work with a lot of enterprises, right? And we have heard like mixed feedback. Like, while a lot of enterprises are excited about adopting AI, some are still skeptical, whether it's about data privacy, exposing their data to models, etc. So, what has been your experience working with enterprises and their expectation on AI? How are they thinking about AI?
Last couple of years, I've been speaking to a lot of CIOs of large enterprises, even for several fortunes and all. What I've seen is like if I have to tell you about 18, 24 months prior, everybody wanted to know what's happening in the AI, what you guys are doing in AI, what you are seeing around. They used to ask us, like everybody was curious, but do not deploy,
Right.
right? When we started demonstrating, like, okay, these are the things which we are building, everybody saw that, and one of the CIOs said, okay, is it working in my company? If it is working, I'm going to go out and immediately stop Whatfix because we are not sure about information security
Right.
and
Yeah.
data controls and all this stuff. They were like 18, 24 months back, their IT teams and IS teams were still learning how to evaluate AI
Right.
features and products actually. Fast forward 6 months, last 6 months, what I've seen is most of the companies now have AI committees or
Wow.
AI task force.
Okay.
These are large enterprises. They have figured out some of the use cases which they think are the low hanging and where there's a minimal risk and they can actually try out AI. Their IS team, governance team, and everybody are now good, capable actually to evaluate AI.
Right.
They have started building their own infrastructure and all. So now I think enterprise companies are a lot more ready. Of course, not at a very wide deployment, but selected use cases they are now aggressively going. Another 12 to 18 months fast forward, I think they will go very wide.
Got it. Got it. The other thing that we keep hearing and would like to get your inputs on that is these days companies and these are like AI companies, call them SaaS AI companies, are able to scale up very fast, right? I mean, in the earlier days, like 5 years back, 1 million revenue in 1 year was like a good milestone. Today, that has changed from 1 million to 5 million. And companies are able to do like 10, 20, 30, 50 million scale in like a year's time, and not on like consumer products or enterprise products. Are you seeing some of that happening from a customer point of view where they're willing to like spend on AI, adopting it fast, decision making is sooner?
It's all about tailwind, right? Like if you look at before cloud,
Yeah.
right? Maybe getting to 1 million would have been very long.
Yes.
Post cloud, I think everybody wanted to get on that. There was a lot of pull was there, right? And that's where SEOs and Google people started doing a lot. Same way now with this AI era, TAM is even bigger.
Yeah.
Right, everybody is ready at same point of time because awareness is very very high.
Right.
So the pool is even much maybe 10x stronger than what it used to be when the cloud started actually. So everybody wants to experiment and nobody wants to be left behind, right? There's a FOMO. So probably what we used to see in 0 to 1, now we are seeing in maybe 0 to 5. So of course, as I was mentioning, everybody wants to hear what we are doing in AI, what is happening in AI, and if it resonates what the low hanging use cases or low hanging fruits what they have identified, people want to try very very quickly.
Got it. Okay. So there is like propensity to try. There is, as you said, AI committees. There are budgets. So that's
Just
what
need to
you're.
hit the right people
Mhm.
with the right use case.
Got it. Uh, One question, right, which comes, and this again we are seeing keep coming up now with AI, right? We discussed this earlier, India versus US, right? And you yourself said that India is a very hard market to like build and get money out of. Do you think that has changed with time since the time you started building to now? Will it change? Right? Because these days we meet a lot of AI companies who are selling to enterprises in India, and we do see people tracking 50, 60, $70,000 deals, which was unheard of in the past, right? I mean, very few companies could do that.
Yeah, so you see, a lot of things change, right? Even if you look at like 10 years prior, when
Mm-hmm.
Whatfix started, or
Mm-hmm.
Freshworks, or ChargeBees, and we all were very small companies,
Yeah.
right? Now we ourselves consume so much software.
Yes.
Same thing has happened on the consumer side, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
Zomato's or Swiggy's or
Right.
Flipkart's and all, right? So in last 10, 15 years, I think probably we would have built, I'm forgetting about the banking,
Mm-hmm.
not other sectors,
Yeah.
only consumer tech and B2B tech,
Yeah.
right? We would have had actually 100 companies who can consume a lot of softwares, right? We
Mm-hmm.
use like maybe 150 plus
Mm-hmm.
softwares and a lot of Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And we pay a lot of them 50K, 100K
Yeah.
as well, right? So getting those out of that 100, 200 pool of tech companies in India,
Mm-hmm.
Indian born, I think getting that first million
Mm-hmm.
is really, really much faster and easier.
Right.
So that itself can get you product market fit, understanding,
Mm-hmm.
narrowing down, or refining your, sharpening your product
Mm-hmm.
can happen very, very
Right.
quickly. So that part has definitely changed. So 0 to 1 has become easier
Yeah.
compared to what it was. 1 to 10, I'm not sure yet. I'm not the right guy to answer. It might have become easier.
Yeah. I mean, we do see even 1 to 10 happening, but 10 to 100 is where it's still unknown.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Switching gears a little bit, right. Over the last 10 years, you have raised over $270 million. Right.
And it was a good thing, a bad thing.
So capital is always a good thing. Right. It gives you the comfort to experiment and like have enough room to grow. Early stage, of course, the bet is a lot more on the team and the founders, right? And of course, you do validate the market, but team is what you bet on. In your experience, as you started scaling up and as you raised the growth rounds, what are the fundraising strategy? How did that change? Right, which pool of capital did you like tap into? How did that happen? Anything on the fundraising journey?
I've also learned over
Yeah.
as we went through the journey, right? So early on, we wanted somebody who can really believe in the problem what we are solving, right? We needed somebody who can understand the product, understand. So Ashish and Alok also was part of at the time. Helion, they resonated very well
Yeah.
because Ashish was a product guy
Yeah.
himself, right? And Alok also from enterprise background. And then once we got that product market fit, when we were raising Series A, we realized that okay, GTM is our weakness,
Yeah.
right? We need to get somebody who can help us there.
Mhm.
And by that time, we had seen the value what Alok was giving
Mhm.
us. So we pushed. We discussed with Alok, and good, he led our Series A.
Mhm.
So
This
that
was
was
from Stellaris or from
so
Helion?
Stellaris.
Stellaris,
So
okay.
yeah. So by the time I think they had
Yeah.
seed round to Series A. I think
So, yes, Stellaris had come
they
in.
were split and like Stellaris was formed. So from product we started realizing a lot more GTM,
Mhm.
and then we started realizing a lot more that okay, we about geography,
Yeah.
right? So that's where we thought okay, we need to get local guys or
Mhm.
somebody who can help in the geography.
Mhm.
We got Cisco Investments, we got F Prime
Mhm.
Capital in Boston along with 8 Roads. They had a Europe presence, Europe,
Mhm.
UK, and Sequoia Pick 15,
Yeah.
strong US presence. So that was the mind share, and that's what we got in
Yeah.
Series B, C. As we started going further, then we needed okay, we need bigger guys who can actually help us with CIO connects and
Mhm.
all the. So SoftBank happened
Mhm.
with that mindset, and of course, check size also makes a difference,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
how you go, and then as you go forward, like similar thought process, like somebody who can actually have a strong
Mhm.
presence in the CIO networks and other stuff. And
Mhm.
Warburg also happened because they have very good
Yeah.
portfolio management team in US and other
Mhm.
places and all. Along with that, another thought process was like we need 2 or 3 guys with very deep pockets,
Right. Of
so that
course.
we can give more exits to the existing investors. And if we want to raise more rounds,
Yeah.
if we do some acquisitions and also somebody can pull in. So
Yeah.
that's how we thought, okay, SoftBank is there, Dragoneer is there. Okay, we have Warburg. So we have
Mhm.
3 to 4 guys who have deep pockets who can back us multiple times.
Got it. Got it. I mean, one thing that you mentioned, right? I mean, in every funding round, you looked for investors who could help you, right? That is one thing.
Immediate problem statement at that point.
Yeah. How do how do you like make the most out of investors? How do you make investors work for you?
Investor claims.
Yeah,
They
that's
can,
why. I
right?
mean, everyone claims.
And actually, I'll also most of the investors can also do.
Yes.
But actually, the onus is on the founders to take that help,
Yeah.
right? Because investor is not thinking about your company 24 hours.
Mhm.
You are thinking,
Yes.
right? So what it's like in Series A, B time, like we used to have 1 or 2 slides like investor ask in the board meetings, right?
Yeah.
Then as we progressed, now we like last couple of years we have a founders office, corp dev guy. So they interface a lot. They map the portfolios of the investors, and they take they actually connect our sales guys and all. Our sales guys are connected with a lot of portfolio management teams of different investors, and directly they help take the help for events and all.
Right.
I personally then again have my ownership along with my founder's office to actually identify the advisors, experts in marketing, sales. So now it's lot more structured.
Yeah.
But I think ownership, I would say, is on the team, on the
On the
founders.
founders, yeah. To make the investors work.
Yeah. Because you can't expect that you don't ask and somebody like there's a case saying, crying baby gets more milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to cry a lot.
Right. Great. This has been very insightful, Khadim. One last question just to wrap up the discussion, right? The overall SaaS landscape has changed a lot in the last 10 years. AI has come in. GTM, people have a lot more clarity. There's a lot more talent available. If you had to do this all over again now, starting from scratch, how would you have gone about this? Anything different that you would have done?
See, if I have to start now, I know a lot more GTM.
I think it's still the same Khadim who was a techie.
Probably if I was the same guy, I would have made the same number of mistakes, right? But if I have to, some things which I could have done very differently, if I have to answer that, right? Like journey with was a lot of small pivots and hops, right? Like community, SME, enterprise. I would have tried to understand the value of what did this product deliver and for whom. So that product market fit, even theoretically, I would have thought or validated much earlier with the right segment cohort, and I would have saved 3 years.
Right.
That's number one, right? Probably I would have needed less funding. That's number one. Second, actually, a lot of things we learned on the journey, right? Like many part of demand gen I didn't know, many part of alliances I didn't know. Some things we tried prematurely, it didn't work. Some things we tried pretty late. Some things we tried in the wrong way, like expansions and all. Many places we threw a lot more people on the problem statements and all, right? So many of those mistakes we could have avoided.
Right.
If I had to rebuild whole this thing, probably instead of 800 people, maybe I would have had build this thing with 500 people.
Right.
Because I would have learned how to hire, how to align people in the right way, how to make best use of processes and systems and tools.
Yeah. Great, Khadim. Pleasure talking to you. There's a lot more that we could discuss, but then we only have so much time. Maybe next time we'll have
For sure.
detailed discussion.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Gaurav.
Thanks
Thanks,
a lot.
Gaurav.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app for free, and you'll be the first one to know when new episodes are available. Just search for Prime Venture Partners Podcast in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Castbox, or however you get your podcasts. Then hit subscribe. And if you have enjoyed the show, we would be really grateful if you leave us a review on Apple Podcast. To read the full transcript, find the link in the show notes.